Hey guys, it's Carly back with a new installment to my ranking series, and today I'm going to be doing the Friday the 13th franchise, so it's going to be a bit of a longer video since there's 12 movies, and I'd just like to start by saying I don't own 3 of the movies. I believe it's Jason 10 or X, and Freddy vs. Jason or Part 7, so that's why I'm not going to be holding them up. So I just got to kind of remember where they are in my order. So yeah, I'm just going to start from the worst and go down to the best in my opinion. And the worst for me is one that I don't have, and that is Jason X or Jason 10. I'm sure a lot of people would agree that this is definitely the worst one of all the movies. All the other movies to me are watchable, and this one really isn't. I think I've only seen it all the way through like one time, and I've tried many times to watch it all the way through, and it's just so hard. And the one time I did watch it, I don't even really remember the movie at all, and just have no interest in rewatching it, and that's kind of why I haven't bought it yet. I know I do have to kind of step it up and finish my collection, but like when it's a movie that I know I don't like, it's really hard for me to buy it. So yeah, that one's last on my list. And then next up is Jason Goes to Hell, which this is a film that I had put off watching for a while as well, because I just figured I probably wouldn't like it at all. And I must say, I did not hate it as much as I thought I would. It's really not too terrible. I can kind of see how they were trying to go into a different direction with this one, but I'm one of those people who just prefers to see Jason on screen. I don't really like that they change it up, and I think Jason does look really good in this movie when you do see him, but yeah, I just would prefer to see him, and that's why it's pretty far down on my list. And then next up, I don't own this one either, and that is Freddy vs. Jason. Now, I haven't seen this movie in a while, like years and years. I used to watch it when I was younger, and I don't own it just because, I don't know why, I just never feel like picking it up. I always want to buy stuff that I haven't seen before. But it's not a bad movie, but I feel like the story could have been a lot better. Like, I would have preferred, I don't know, I just would have preferred a different story for what was happening, but it is cool to see both of those characters on screen. That's not something you would always see. So it's not a terrible movie, it's just, you know, you gotta put it somewhere on the list, so. Then next up is a movie that I liked a lot better when I was growing up. I had it on VHS, and I don't know, I just watched it recently and did not care for it as much, and that is Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. I do like this cover. I've always been a fan of this cover, and I got the lenticular going on here. But yeah, like I said, I had this on VHS, so it was one I would pop in a lot, and I thought it was pretty good. But upon rewatch, like just last year, I kind of just saw it as being a little too cheesy compared to some of the other ones in the franchise. You could kind of see where they were starting to slip up with it, so yeah, I do still like it, it's just definitely not my favorite. Then next up, we have Friday the 13th, the reboot, or remake. I guess it would be a reboot from, I think this is 2009, somewhere around that time, and I saw this in theaters, and I remember at the time I did kind of like it. It wasn't too bad. I would agree that the beginning is probably the strongest part of this movie, and the characters that you follow afterwards aren't that great, but it's grown on me over time, and that's why it's a little farther up on the list, more in the middle, I guess. And yeah, it's not too bad, and I would love to see them hopefully add more movies onto the franchise after this, so hopefully we'll be seeing some more in the future, because I always do get excited to see movies like this. So yeah, reboot, not too bad. Then next up actually is Part 7, and that's the last one that I do not own, but I do like that one. I think Jason definitely looks the best, like the scariest, as far as being unmasked in that movie, and I think the story is cool with the telekinetic powers and all that. This is one I would watch on TV a lot too, because it was always on. It seemed like that was the one they would always play, like around Friday the 13th and stuff like that. So yeah, I do like that one. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst, so it's kind of in the middle of the list. There's so many movies here, it's kind of hard to rank them and say like, oh, this is the worst, this is the best. Now we're kind of like in the middle where like I like the movie, but it's just not my favorite. And then next up we have part 5, which I actually just watched this one recently for the first time about 2 years ago. And I didn't even realize I'd never seen this movie. Like, people would talk about this one, and like some people like hate this one, and I had no opinions, and I was always confused. But then I realized like I must have somehow passed this one up when I was younger, and I don't even know how. But anyway, yeah, I actually really like this one. I think the characters are pretty cool, and like it's got funny moments, and I like the story. I know that people hate this one because it's like the imposter Jason, but I really don't think that matters, because it's just like, at the end of the day, it's a guy in a hockey mask killing people. Like, I do agree, like the twist is kind of like pointless almost, but yeah, I really don't think it's bad for that reason at all, and I do enjoy this one. Then we have Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. I know a lot of people consider this the best one in the entire franchise, and it's their favorite, and I respect that, but I don't know, this one just isn't my absolute favorite like everyone else's. Like, it's actually forgettable. For some reason, I've seen this so many times, but I always forget the entire movie, and I always feel like I can't really tell you what all happened in this movie. So, but it is a good movie. With that being said, I do appreciate it, and I think it would have been a great closing to the series if they decided to end it. So yeah, it's pretty good. Then we're getting down to the bottom 4 here, and I have Jason Lives. I think this was a really good way to bring Jason back to life after part 5, what they tried with part 5 and how they tried to end it with part 4 and all that. I thought this was pretty cool. It's the start of like zombie Jason, which is creepy, and I thought Jason looked pretty good unmasked at the beginning, and yeah, I like the story with Tommy and all that in it, so I've always really enjoyed this one. It's another one I would watch a lot growing up, so it's number 5, or number 4 rather. And then next up we have the original Friday the 13th from 1981, am I correct? I hope so, or else 1980, sorry, 1980. Yeah, I really like this movie, obviously. I mean, first time I saw it, I didn't really know much about it, so the jump scare at the end was terrifying for me, one of the scariest things I ever saw in my childhood. I think I might have actually cried when that happened because I was not expecting it. So yeah, this is a great movie. It's the one that started it all, and it's a classic. I mean, I would go back to this a lot. It has a lot of rewatch value for me. Some people disagree and don't really go back to this one, but I love it still. So there's that. And then we have part 3. Some people aren't a big fan of this one, I've come to find, but I do like it. And it's not even just because Jason gets his mask. Like, I think Jason's really scary in this one. Like, the guy who played him, like, makes, like, noises when he gets hurt, and, like, he's just, something about him being alive is kind of scary to me, too. It's almost scarier than, like, the dead Jason, because it's, like, a real person with, like, deformities and things like that, and that just always kind of freaked me out. So I always loved this movie, and I like the character Shelly. Some people find him annoying, but I like him, and the music's pretty cool in this one, too, so that's why it's my number 2. And then, of course, at number 1, we have Friday the 13th, Part 2, one of my favorite movies of all time. I really love the sackhead Jason. I think that's almost scarier than the mask. I mean, the mask obviously is like the staple for him, but like the sackhead look is just really scary to me because it's like so hidden. All you see is that one eyeball. And like I said before, the fact that he's alive has always been more intriguing to me than like the zombie version of him. So yeah, I do think this is a great movie. I think it's got one of the best final girls of all time, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about this. So thank you guys once again for watching. That was a pretty long one. I'm glad I made it through, and I will see you next time.